right, what is happening, guys? I am back again with another training session. This is 2 days old now. It's Friday the 12th when I'm recording this. This is from Wednesday. This is my pull session, hour and 20-minute session. This is probably my longest session of the week, I think. And I don't even have ab work on this day. It's just a fucking long session, a lot of volume. Obviously, my highest volume days right now are my back days, and that would be my pull day and my back and shoulder day. So those typically take me the longest. But yeah, just diving right into it like always. Starting with the single arm lat bias pull down here. Took a 5 progression here on 5 pound progression on the top set. It was at 175 last week. I know you can't see the extra 10-pound weight on the stack here. But I have 180 on here. This goes up by 20-pound increments past 170, I think. It's a weird machine. Anyway, 180 for 14 was the top set here, and then I did a back off 175 for 12. 180 for 14 is 2 over the high end of the range. The goal is just 8 to 12 here, so next week this goes up. It felt pretty good. You know, something I've been trying, week over week to focus on with this is really getting that elbow back, really getting it extended back past that kind of midline of the body, that side midline that is, to really, really emphasize the contraction on the lat. And I felt like I got that pretty damn good today. Can still probably improve it a little bit on this left side here. The left side, it's just something I've mentioned before. My left arm, my left lat, kind of have difficulty executing that side with the full range of motion that I can execute on the right, which is funny because my right lat visually is my weaker lat. So I don't know. It's a whole, it's all fucked up. But regardless, it's improving. It feels good. This felt really good today, actually, or on this day. I say today when I'm commentating these, but it's 2 days ago, whatever. It felt really fucking good. I love starting the session off with these. These are just a good, for lack of a better word, like clean movement to start with. I don't have to brace against anything. I'm set up, no bracing with like my core or anything anyway. Like I'm bracing against a bench, so I'm like completely locked in. The cable's nice and smooth. It's just a good movement to start the session with. Felt really good. Again, progressions all around here. So super happy with this. And in fact, this day in general, very, very happy with it. Made an alteration of my T-bar row, which we'll get into next. And I'm probably going to alter that further, but I'll talk about that in a second. Switched out my single arm bicep curl for a bilateral bicep curl. I actually did this last week, but last week I didn't get a video of this day because my camera was dead from a power outage because of storms. Regardless, made the switch last week for the curls, just continued with it this week, and it feels really good. I really prefer doing a bilateral bicep curl. I don't know why. I just don't really mentally connect well with the single arm cable curls, or really any single arm curl. Preacher curls don't really connect well with me. Actually, I will say single arm overhead curls I do connect with pretty well, but for what we're doing now, bilateral feels really good. And moving into the chest supported T-bar row, as always, 8 to 12 reps. Took a progression on the top set, went from 170 to 175, hit 12 reps with 175, so the weight goes up next week. Back off set was 170 and then 170 again, and I got 11 and 10 reps. So set 2 and 3 stay the same next week, but that top set will go up to 180. You will see I am back to using a pronated grip on this movement. And I'm also, so 2 things with that. One, the pronated grip actually felt really good. I think that on my heavier day, I haven't fully decided yet. I might switch to this pronated grip on my lighter day and keep this heavier day, which is what you're seeing right now, a neutral grip, because neutral grip tends to lend itself towards moving heavier weight a little bit easier anyway, because you're recruiting a little bit more of that bicep. But this did feel really good, having my heavy day with a pronated grip. So I'm considering just keeping this grip on this day and going real heavy. But at the same time, kind of as a separate discussion around the weight here, I think I'm going to drop my weight down pretty significantly on this. I would really like to see myself leaning over more than I am, but without having to use the neutral grip. I just feel like if I get a little bit better lean into it, and this third set right here, you can see it actually looks pretty good. If I get a little bit better lean into it, it just feels so much better for what I'm actually trying to target in my back. I think the weight is just maybe a limiting factor here. So I might drop the weight a little bit on this and keep this grip. We'll see next week with what I'm feeling and how the weight's feeling. But yeah, overall progress on that. And moving into the seated cable row, lat biased row. Progression here, I think I said it last week and I'll say it again. This is like my most progressed movement or one of them. I think like shoulder press is up there too, but this just every week I throw weight on this thing. 205 for 13 and then 205 for 12. So we matched the reps from last week and we took 5 pounds on both sets. Simple shit. It's this movement just every week I feel like I make an improvement on this one. And obviously that'll slow down. You'll have that throughout your entire routine, no matter what your program is. You're going to have movements that are just flying week over week and other movements that you just want to fucking punch a wall every time you're finishing a set because you just didn't hit your target, right? So it's a give and a take, for every set or every movement I have that moves as easily and it progresses as easily as these, there's one that challenges me. And a great example is the T-bar row prior to this, trying to really lock that in. I've made progressions on it, but it's not quite as confident of a progression as I'd like to see. So yeah, this is easy though. Next week, this goes up in weights and we're going to try and match reps, 5 pounds extra on both sets. So up to 210 next week. Super simple here. And the hammer strength single arm Hyro lat bias. So I just love the name of this because it's a mouthful every time I say it. 10 to 15 rep goal here. I think I upped the weight this week. Actually, no. This weight was the same as last week. My bad. 160 here for all 3 sets, and I hit 18, 15, and 12. So the weight, at least on that first set, goes up next week. I'm also, you'll see I have the seat pretty fucking low here. I think on my second set or my third set here, I don't remember which one, I tried moving the seat up just to see how it felt. Honestly, I didn't notice a huge difference, but I was really fatigued by the point that I made that change. I already had 1 or maybe 2 sets under my belt there. So I feel that next week I might try raising the seat just a little bit here and see how I connect with that, see if it feels decent. Just kind of playing with the positioning. I feel if I raise the seat a little bit, I might be able to kind of bring that elbow back further, which is really what I want here. But it's kind of a balancing act, right? Because if you bring it up too far, then you're not really targeting the lat, right? Which is what we want. So we'll see. I might play with it. I might not. Overall, these felt pretty good. Again, my left side here, which is the side you guys always see, continues to be my kind of deficiency in this movement. My right side is just way easier for me to get my arm, my elbow back as far as I need to get it back. The left side, I just struggle with. I might even take some time on this next week to just come back to it after I'm done with my session, if it's open, and just no weight on the machine, try to position myself to just see how it feels and do some reps without any weight on it and see if I can kind of lock in that arm path and just give myself some sort of a physical cue that I can latch on to, so that when I do position myself on this, for my actual working sets, I can just lock in, use that cue, and know I'm in the right position. That's always really helpful, It's something you can do if you just have extra time or you want to kill time or you're just, really trying to set things up, is get on a machine, get under the bar, whatever, no weight on it, see what works and what feels good. Obviously, you have to kind of know what it's going to feel like with weight too, because it's not going to be exactly the same bar path, or it's not going to feel exactly the same with weight versus doing it empty, right? But you can at least kind of get yourself set up, right? You can even see right there, I kind of shifted my left hip back to try and I had it forward and rotated, and then I rotated back again. But yeah, this is a finicky one for me. But again, we progressed it. It felt pretty good. These last few reps here are just, you know, real grinders for me on this left side. But again, I feel it. It's working. My lats are growing. They've made a ton of progress, actually, my lats and my hamstrings. I think right now we're going to probably increase volume a little bit for my mid back, kind of my mid upper back. That's kind of my weak point right now. So we're probably going to make some volume increases to that this next coming week. We've switched out tomorrow, so for my next training session, well, not the next one you guys will see, but like 2 sessions from now you'll see it. I have it tomorrow. It's my Saturday session. We switched out the upper back pull downs, cable pull downs, for a single arm landmine row, which I'm really excited for because I like that movement and I really don't like the upper back pull down. So I'm glad to be done with it. But yeah, this feels pretty good. No complaints for this movement overall, other than kind of some of the stuff I've noted. So I'm just going to let this last set play out here, and then we will hop into cable curls. All right, now moving into cable curls. Again, doing these bilaterally. You'll notice maybe that I do them a little bit differently than some people you might see. I kind of set up my bilateral curls almost like a drag curl. Very, very close to the body, elbows very, very far back. Yeah, basically a drag curl here, but I really prefer it this way. I can move a lot more weight when I have my elbows, kind of out in front and I'm curling up to the face, but it feels much less effective for me. Now I just don't get nearly as good of a pump directly in the bicep. It's good, don't get me wrong, but it's not as good as with these. These felt really solid. Again, this is probably one of my favorite bicep movements. I could just do a basic cable curl like this, or again, cable drag curl if you really want to call it that, all day long. These feel great. Yeah, not a whole lot to say about them other than, this was 10 to 15 rep goal, same as what the single arm cable curls were when I had those in. Did 80 pounds on all 4 sets, hit 17, 13, 12, and 10 reps. So that top set, that first set, will go up next week. Probably just going to jump it up to 85. I don't know, maybe 90 on these since it's bilateral. I should probably stick with 85, honestly. I'm getting ahead of myself doing a 10-pound jump on fucking cable curls. So I think we'll just go up to 85 next week. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I can move more weight when I put my arms out in front, but these just feel good. These just feel really effective to me. I get a good connection. I get a good pump. I feel it right in the bicep. I just really fucking like these. Like this is the one bicep movement I really, really connect with really well, because I've got picky fucking biceps that just hate being worked. And yeah, since I found this movement that I love, I don't want to do anything else basically. So no complaints here. with anything. No issues with this. It was a progression over last week, but I don't remember exactly what my numbers were last week. I want to say it was like 80 for 14 and then 80 for 12, 10, 10, I think, something like that. So a pretty significant increase here this week in total reps, but the weight was the same. I kept the weight the same as last week and just went for some extra reps again because this is kind of just some higher volume work anyway. It's not like 12 to 20. It's not like what I do for my triceps. This is only 10 to 15, but it's still on the higher end of the range. You know, I'm not doing 6 to 12 reps here. And I always think this is my last movement of the day. It is not. I have my calf raises after this. But this is my second to last movement, my rear delt fly, my reverse pec deck, whatever you want to call it. No weight progression this week. 95 pounds in the first set, 90 pounds on the second and third set. So those are the same weights as last week. Hit 18 reps on the first set, 15 on the second, 13 on the third. 12 to 20 is the goal, so the weights will all stay the same this next week too. I'm at the point where my weight has really topped out on my rear delts. I moved the weight up week over week pretty consistently for probably like 5 weeks, 6 weeks. Maybe a little less than that, probably 4 or 5 weeks. And then now we're at that point where it's like, okay, the weight progressions are not going to come as easily. So I'm taking my time, making the reps really click well, and just focusing on getting the rep progressions without really just forcing that weight up. You know, I could have last week, or for this session rather, I could have jumped up to 95 for all 3 sets, but I said, nope, I'm just going to do that one and keep the others at 90. Just keep everything the same and try to beat those reps. Because again, this isn't a movement we need to be cranking out tons of weight on either. You know, there's no extra benefit to moving the whole stack on this versus moving 90 pounds and doing it effectively, right? Anybody can throw a ton of weight on this and just swing it back like they're basically doing a scapular row with their with the weight here. So yeah, that's the whole thing to keep in mind, is we want to focus on the rear delts, isolate the rear delts, keep the contraction in the rear delts. Don't fucking use your back. This isn't a row. You're not doing some weird shit with your scapula here. Just focus on the delts. and that's also why you see me not really going much further back than, it's not parallel, like perpendicular to my body, parallel, I don't know what you want to call it. But I'm not really going much further back than actually like breaking that line with the rear delt, or my back and shoulder itself, because there's no need. You don't need to overextend like that. At that point, you're just taking all of that tension that you have off the rear delt and throwing it into your back. And it really makes the movement a lot less effective. There's just no reason to do that. But yeah, you know, nothing to complain about here. These felt really good. All 3 sets were solid. Take rep progressions next week. And then I did have 3 sets of calf raises today. 12 to 20 reps is the goal. Same weight as last week, 142.5. I don't remember what my reps were last week, but I know this week I hit 142.5 for 22, 14, and 11. I think only my first set is going to be on video here. I think my camera like overheated or something and died because of how long this session was. It's probably the longest day I've had in the gym since the bulk started. So only 1 set of these recorded today, but that's the top set with 22 reps here. We ended up hitting 22, 14, and 11 with the same weight all across all 3 sets. And again, it was a progression. So yeah, this felt solid. Weight will go up on that top set next week. Just going to throw 5 more pounds on. Yeah, and until tomorrow, guys, you know, I'll have another training session. Tomorrow's session that you're going to see will be, what is it? It's going to be my hamstring session, so RDLs and all that good stuff. But yeah, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. And until tomorrow, take it easy.